1 4.
2 5s.
1 6. There's 4 8s right there, boys.
We're on 7s.
Well, okay then, 4 7s.
Bullshit.
Okay, people, welcome back to another Fwoosh review. Today I'm taking a look at the figure complex Amazing Yamaguchi Marvel... What the hell? X-Men Gambit. Now, the Hasbro Marvel Legends Gambit is right around the corner, so getting 2 Gambits in, I'm gonna guess, the same month? We're just rich with Gambits. Not a bad thing, because the Toy Biz Gambit has been gone from my collection for a long time. I don't even know what happened to it. So I've been Gambitless for several years now. Bring on the Gambits. Looking at the package, it's the standard craziness we've come to expect with the Amazing Yamaguchi packages. They just stuff graphics everywhere they can. And then it caught me off guard whenever I first opened the shipping box here. Where the hell does his face go? It's down here hanging out. If it looks like it's just a peg that plugs in, hopefully that's not a problem when I get it out of the package. On the side, fancy promotional shot of Gambit. On the back, more promotional shots showing everything that comes with it. There's 2 faces. There's a normal. There's a clinching. Here's the hand options, energy options, bunch of stuff I can't read. But the stuff I can read, this has become my favorite part of an Amazing Yamaguchi review. As of today, you can't afford me no more. What kind of job? I'm sorry to say this, but I don't think so. My Cajun is terrible, but it's just, I'm sorry to say this. And then up here, Soit? I'm not sure what that is. I build up the charge inside my own body, then pass it on to something. LSC, say a playing card. And on the other side, we usually get kind of a fight night poster look to it. Let's make this a night to remember. On the top, just logos and names. On the bottom, a more modern take on Gambit, if I remember right. More warnings, more unreadables, your winning lottery numbers. Let's see what's going on here. And I already know what's on the inner flap because they showed it on Twitter. But we usually get something along the lines of a graphic of Gambit. Down here, I really dig this. Yes, they gave us plastic cards with energy effects, and there may be more plastic cards back here, but to give you even more options, here's some cards you can cut out. And in fact, let's take this off. If you look at the back, there's cards just kind of strewn out all over the picture. Some of them go behind the graphics, so you can't use those. There's another one right there. But I believe you can also cut these out. They seem to be about the same size. Now it's a scavenger hunt to try to find more cards. What do we have on the other side? There's another picture of Gambit, and then the top, more cards. I have a feeling my action figures are gonna have a poker game at some point in the near future. Behind the figure, we get the usual graphic, kind of standy card background. Moving ice. Yep, switching the faces, 1 peg going in. This effect is odd. It plugs down into the hand, and then you have the cards that go into his card holding hands. Oops, and then the Revoltech stand just taped to the back of the package. Also in there, extra double joints. I think those are for the shoulders. And let's see if I can cut this out without, oops, I missed the dotted line right off. Oh, you. Not perfect, but that will definitely work. And I didn't come up with the idea of using the side cutters on this. I think I actually saw it on that same Twitter post from Yamaguchi. But it gives you a nice straight cut, and you can get right up on the edge of it. Snip those corners just a little bit to round them off. Or at least make the appearance that they're rounded off. There's more on the flap here. And then on the other side too. An abundance of playing cards in the action figure collection now. And there we go. Past all the packaging stuff to the figure itself. And like I always say about the Amazing Yamaguchi line, oh, it's so damn frustrating, but so fulfilling. I like the end product, but getting to there is such a chore. It's a chore. Looking at the figure, it's definitely in that Yamaguchi style. It's stylized, the smaller head, the awkward proportions a little bit, but it's a cool look. It's a lot of flat brown with the jacket piece, which is sculpted very dynamically, but it's just kind of flat. And I don't mean that as a bad thing. It's just, you know, it's supposed to be a contrast against these colors they've used on the actual body itself. The first thing that grabs you is this pinkish, purplish, just kind of deep metallic. Well, I can't say metallic, it's just a very glossy color. It looks like metal, and I always thought of his chest piece as kind of an armor, but they actually have wrinkles in here that makes me think more spandex, I guess. But there is a metal look to the belt right here with the bands, and that travels down, well, it doesn't travel down, but it's also picked up down here at the lower legs. The metal looking knee pad, the banded metal look to the shins, I like the sheen here. It looks metallic. And then in between there, we have some more of that pinkish, purplish, and kind of a dark blue, blackish color. Black for the partially fingerless gloves, and then we get that yellowish orange kind of skin tone we usually see with this line. But then we get up to the head, it's oh so Gambit. The black eyes, the red pupils. In person, they look a little bit more orange, but looking at it through the camera here, is it red? Is it orange? Now that it's almost 30 years on, the headdress looks a little bit weird, but hey, 90s. And then the hair appropriately up and in the wind, impossibly so, but a nice wash to it to bring out the details. And what I always say about Amazing Yamaguchi is that they're not meant to be in just a standing position. They're meant to be in action. They're meant to be kicking ass all over the shelf. But after messing with Gambit for a while, I did get him in a pretty good neutral stance. And it looks so good that I'm tempted to leave it like this, even though a lot of my Yamaguchi's figures on the shelf are in action poses. But par for the course for this line, they've taken different routes with some of the articulation. They've taken some chances, which figure to figure, I'd like to see a little bit more consistency. But I will admit some things are working, but then some things aren't. Early in the line, they used a Revoltech joint inside the torso and then had a floating ab piece. That didn't always work, especially when you were standing the figure straight up. Here they have a joint attached to the ab piece and then a joint going up into the torso. So it's much more solid articulation there. Although I don't know if they did this on purpose, the lower piece going to the waist, it's sitting on top of it, so you can't crunch there unless it gets behind it somehow. As far as I can tell, though, it just goes to there, and then you do most of your crunching with the upper torso. We saw it with Wolverine. I think we saw it with Captain America, the side articulation pieces. The problem I run into here is that, yes, they give you more movement to the arms, but they're attached to the lower coat here, and the coat, as you can tell, is a little bit heavy, so it seems to drag these arms both back and then open a little bit. I'd like for it to stay in place, stay where I put it, you know? To keep all the articulation you can in the neck, this upper torso piece right here, and then the collar is one piece, and it is floating. So it does ride up a little bit sometimes. It does get out of position. You just have to, like Yamaguchi in general, you have to find the pose and then tweak, put everything into position. Same thing with the shoulder pads here. They're a separate piece on a ball joint on the back right there. You gotta come in, boop, boop, close that gap. And I'm just gonna be completely honest right here. Like the figures in this line that have capes that are all segmented and stuff, even though this is just two pieces, one on this side, one on this side, I do not care for this. It's less frustrating than the capes, I will admit, especially Batman, but I don't know, getting it over to here, you can get a look, and it looks okay from the front because you lose that gap, but man, these are just heavy. They don't stay where you want them to go. This piece is actually a little bit rubbery, so it kind of flexes whenever you try to move this around. This is just frustrating. It makes it hard to play with. It makes it hard to play with. Shut up. And then one more thing before I get past the griping stage of the review. Out of the package, the shoulder joints right here did not want to rotate side to side. They were very... Okay. We're going to keep with the frustration stuff for a minute. I fixed this side, but this side, it's still like it was out of the package, and you can see the joint trying to split whenever I try to turn the shoulder forward and back. There's a better view right there when I turn it. It wants to pop apart. That's because this was so tight that I popped this apart several times trying to get it to move. Same with the left side. And now I don't have that over here. And even though splitting it is not a major deal, it just pops back together. It seems like once it pops apart, it's a little bit looser than it was out of the package. It's also very, very tight going into the arm. So I took the, if I can get this out, pull this out, and then I replaced it with the extras that came in that package. It just seems to flow a little bit better in there. Put that down in there, and I shouldn't have any more trouble with that joint. It just feels a little bit looser. And usually I complain about, oh, it's loose, it comes out of the socket. But in this case, yeah, it needs to be a little bit looser. And if you get crazy with the shoulder joint, the shoulder pads that hide the shoulder joint, they seem to like to pop off, which you saw a minute ago. Now that I have this free, it's not going to do it. And then stick with me. We're going to get to the good points here in a minute, but you did see in the package that the face was off. There's a separate neck piece right here to cover the joint so you can get full range of movement in the neck. I think that pushes on the back of the face and just kind of works it loose, especially when you get side poses. You're going to get that falling off like that. Pushing down there, it doesn't even feel like it's very tight when I go in there. So depending on, here, there's the separate neck piece. We're used to that in this line. I think it just works against it in this case. But then the good thing about a Revoltech figure is all the range of motion that you get out of it, the action poses. That's what we're looking for in this line. So for articulation here, there's a crazy joint at the bottom of this, a crazy joint going up into the skull so you can get forward and then looking down. Awesome amount of up. Oh, so much tilt. And yes, I'm holding the face on as I go. Some swivel. Double Revoltech joint at the shoulder so you can get up pretty much all the way. The way the joint's set in there, it goes side to side like this, but if you bring it around here, you can go all the way up. Or if you don't like that gap right there, twist it down and then you don't have any gap right there. There is a ball joint going from the torso out to this piece right here. So you do get some forward, you get some back. I pull it completely apart. I guess this is here to go into here to keep you from overextending it like I just did and popping it apart. It's always nice to tear your figures apart a little bit to find out what's going on in there. Rotation on that double joint up there. Revoltech joint at the elbow gives you range all the way up. And then there's also rotation above and below that joint. So you can get into all kinds of misalignment hijinks when you're posing this thing. At the cuff of the sleeve right here, this rotates for some reason. I'm not quite sure why, because the hand rotates inside that. Maybe it's to have the shorter part of the cuff out of the way if you want to bring articulation in. But there's a Revoltech joint at the wrist. You can get it to go up and down. You can swivel it, and then you can get it around, or by turning that maybe, where you can get it side to side. Talked about the torso. There's a joint here, joint here. You can get nice tilt. Crunches more at the top, but not bad. I wish that went in there and I want it crunched all the way down. Arc back. The hips kind of remind me of, was it Carnage? You can't get really out a lot, but if you manipulate the leg up, which it goes up this far, and then kind of bring the leg around like this, you can get out, but it does misalign the pink stripes right there on the side. Back, there's two Revoltech joints back here for the coattails. Those rotate up and down, and then you can bring them side to side. Thigh swivel, cut at kind of an angle to help with the hips. Revoltech at the knee comes all the way up, can kick his own ass. There is rotation there. The knee pad is on a joint, so you're not left with this like we did, was it Batman? You can bring it up, hide the joint. The oddball joint mid shin here, you can get a little bit side to side, a little bit forward and back, but it's mostly for rotation. Revoltech at the ankle goes back, all the way. Forward pin for rocker, and then you get toe joint, comes all the way up. For accessories, we get several sets of hands. We get 2 fists, we get 2 small grip hands, we get 2 larger grip hands, and then we get 2 splayed out hands. And these are easy enough to just pop off. They are a little bit tight. A couple of the other hands, I've had kind of a problem to get them on, but I haven't feared breaking it yet. Just pop, pops on. For accessories, we get 2 of these oddball card arrays. They're clear. You can see right through them like there's not actually cards there. And there is a left and right, so you have to kind of, I've been back to the instructions several times. I try to remember that the thumb goes to the out card, not the one standing straight up. There is a peg hole, there's a peg, and then when it's pinned in, the cards kind of go between the fingers a little bit until it splays down here to the thumb. And it's a neat effect. I just like the look of the playing cards a little bit better. But speaking of playing cards with effects, here are 2 of these, and there is a left and right here, but they're interchangeable. You can see the peg on this one is on this side. On the other side, you have the back of the cards. And they really thought this through with the peg being angled like that, and then the grip being angled out a little bit. Once you put this in the hand, the card sits between the thumb and forefinger. So from this side, when you can't see the peg, it looks like he's holding the card, but it's nice and secure. But if you want him looking at the card for whatever reason while charging it, you can put the other one in there. Boom! That looks great. But he does have this hand. It's kind of a loose grip. You can slip the cards that you cut out of the packaging into this hand. This one, not so much. I need to heat it up and close the fingers. But on the right hand, the fingers are a little bit closer together, so when you slip this in, it stays in there. And then finally, there is the staff. It's the same metallic color as the legs. It just fits right in. A little bit simple, a little bit plain, but it works. And for that, you can either use the tighter grip, or if you kind of want that loose grip look, you can use that looser grip, and he holds it fine there too. Master of the boat, get your own gimmick. And then besides the smirking face, the one I think of when I think of Gambit, it also comes with a clenching his teeth face. And it's not a huge difference, it's just him a little bit angrier. And when I think of Gambit, I think of him as smooth, collected. And much like I griped about earlier, the face just easily pops off one pin up in the top of the face. And this one is, well, it's a little bit tighter. It likes to stay in there a little bit better, but you get too crazy. Boom. As you can see on the back, moving eyes. And I really don't care for the tool that they give us because it's not really a tight fit once you get in there. So here's my usual handy dandy push pin with the tip clipped off so it's a tight fit in there. It's good to have more options, but honestly, I never use this once it's on the shelf or even when I go to pose. Get your ass, or well, your face rather, in there. Standing it up, it is back heavy because of the trench coat pieces sticking off back there. Size-wise, he stands at about 6 3/4 inches to the top of his impossibly up hair. For comparison, here he is with the Amazing Yamaguchi Wolverine, and this is good. I like that they made Gambit tall, but lithe. He looks agile. And that's especially apparent compared to the thicker characters in the line. Amazing Yamaguchi Captain America and Amazing Yamaguchi Magneto. I got rid of his cape. Cloth for Gambit, I'm not sure. Here he is with the Marvel Legends Bishop and Cyclops. Because of the aesthetic here, the smaller head, when it comes to figures fitting into other lines, I always look at the head size, and it's small. The body size is right, the height is right, it's just the head size that throws me off. If you wanted to integrate this into your Marvel line, you don't do Amazing Yamaguchi, maybe? I don't know. So at the end of the day, I dig the figure, but I am absolutely sick of messing with it. These are meant to be fiddled with. Well, fiddled is even a little bit frustrating, to tell you the truth. You want to find that pose and then get the pictures or put it on the shelf and then admire it. Look at how something plastic can get in such dynamic poses. I honestly dread these reviews. I mean, when I get it, I'm excited. I get the package open, I'm looking at it, I'm like, yes! And then I start taking pictures, I start messing with it and getting it arms around and the legs down and trying to hold something, and it's just, oh! You want to throw it through a window. But you get past that, you step back, you admire it, and that's when you go, I'm glad I have this. I had to switch out some of the joints. I had to do some fixing. I don't know if I'm still going to do some gluing because that face falling off is the absolute worst when it comes to posing this action figure, not in general. I'm happy to have it. I'm always down for more X-Men. It's a nice representation of Gambit on my Amazing Yamaguchi shelf, but I'm also looking forward to a more plain Jane Marvel Legends Gambit here in the near future. And I love my Revoltech shelf, I love my Legends shelf. It's two completely separate entities, but they don't go together very well. Like I always say, you either love this line enough to get past that frustration, to get the poses that you want, to get the amazing display pieces, or you hate this line because of that damn frustration. And I'll admit, there are some figures in this line that I absolutely hate, I do not care for, or aspects that I absolutely hate. But some of the other figures I love, and I love Gambit. It was a hard road, but I do like them. So if you like the review, comment, like, subscribe. I'll catch you on the Fwoosh.